Hello, 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 mamas, and welcome to another episode of Angel Mom's Hopes of Heaven by Alana's Song. My name is Angela Presley, and I am your host today. And I am so happy and grateful to welcome today Susan Young Oskey, and she's going to tell us about her beautiful daughter, Brittany. Um, I do believe that she has two daughters that live in heaven.
Yes.
Yes, two daughters that live in heaven. So we don't want to leave that out. We definitely want to acknowledge all the babies. So,
Okay.
yes, so I'm going to give Susan the floor to tell us her story. Susan has a book. We're just going to go into all of this. And I love, love, love just the thought of heaven. So to just read a little bit about Susan and how she is also talking about heaven just gave me so much joy and excitement. So I am really ready to hear your story, Susan. Go ahead and introduce yourself and just feel free to talk about anything that's on your heart.
Okay. My name is Susan Oskey, and I'm a retired school teacher. I my daughter Brittany was a real blessing to me because before her, I lost a baby in the second trimester, and that was pretty traumatic. And going into this next pregnancy, of course, I was worried that I was not going to make it to term again. But she was premature, but she was fine. So we got through that hurdle with a lot of prayers and anxiety on top of it, though, but we
Yeah.
got through. And I mean, she was just the joy of my life. She had an outgoing personality from a very young age, and she would tell you what she thought, even as a 2, 3 year old. She never held anything back. My husband and I would never like that at that age. We wouldn't be like that. She was just very different than the 2 of us. She just
Hmm.
expressed herself, and even more as she grew older,
Yeah.
she expressed herself, and, we grew to be friends, as she grew older. We were friends, and we traveled a lot together. We went out to dinner often together, and we would just talk.
Hmm.
And she was the type of girl that would tell me a lot of things that sometimes a mother doesn't always wanna hear, but she
Yeah.
would go there and she would tell me.
Yeah.
I think she was comfortable with me because she knew I wasn't going to scream or yell, but kinda direct her back, put her back on the right path.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
it was like with her. Going into her teen years was challenging. She seemed to have some, psychological problems
Hmm.
and problems that just did not show until she was about 13 years old, right around puberty for some reason. She started showing signs of anxiety. Her personality was not what it was like. Low self-esteem, just concerning behavior. I put her into therapy right away, talk therapy.
Hmm.
And she did that for a little while, and then we decided to go back to it and do it again, and this time I took her to a psychiatrist because she would have outbursts, and she would threaten to hurt herself, and I
Hmm.
I didn't I didn't know what to do about it at that point. I said, and we d he she did go to the doctor, and he did put her on medication therapy, but it was never right for her because her behavior changed, but not in the way that it should have. It seemed to, her problems seemed to get bigger and bigger, after taking the medications. It just never worked out.
Yes.
Of course, I was always concerned, and I always said to her, I'm always here, I put her first because she needed me. And even, as a teenager going into a young adult, 20 years old, she needed me.
Yes. Yes.
It just,
Always. Always.
you know, eh, so she was actually put in a psych hospital a
Okay.
couple of times.
Hmm.
It seemed to come out worse than when she was going in.
Mm,
I don't, and she volunteered to do it during the summer break so she wouldn't have to miss school.
okay.
She said she'd do it so she'd be ready for school. Like, she really wanted to help herself. She really, really tried. She never fought me on any kind of, whatever advice I gave her, she did it because she wanted to get well. And she just didn't get well.
Mm-hmm.
As she got older, it got worse.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a friend that was heavy into drugs, but she had gone out to a friend's house that night, and she had a cyst on her body that was very painful. It had burst open and she was in a lot of pain. And her friend told her, "I only have one thing to give you that can help with the pain, and that's liquid methadone."
Mm,
And she gave her the liquid methadone. It used to be used as a pain reliever, but now they use it for heroin addicts to
yeah.
help get them off that. So I never even knew methadone was in liquid,
Yeah.
but she took that, and she obviously took too much because in the middle of the night she passed away.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and they didn't find her. I guess her friend was sleeping in late that day. It was a weekend, and I believe it happened in the very early morning hours, but they didn't find that she was gone until around 12 o'clock.
Yes.
So she was laying there for all that time, and it was just. My sister was a officer at the time, and she is the one that came over to tell me,
Oh,
which I'll be forever grateful for her doing that instead of having to talk with strangers.
yes.
But I will never forget her words. To this day, I remember those words, what she said to me, and exactly what I did. And after that, I was in such shock. I just walked around not knowing what
Mm-hmm.
to do. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't sleep. I couldn't settle down. I had to deal with my husband who has his own issues, and now his child is gone. He called her his little lamb, a
Yes.
little lamb, and he would
Mm-hmm.
say, "My little lamb is gone. My little lamb is gone." So
Ah,
anybody that's lost a child knows the pain, the tremendous pain. It was nothing like anything I have ever felt before.
exactly. I know exactly what you're speaking of. Exactly.
It's a pain I never knew existed.
Yeah.
It's just something like and it's hard to explain. I can only explain it to a mother who's lost a child,
Mm-hmm.
or a dad, because they know what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's I believe it's unnatural, and that's why you can't explain it. You can't explain this type of pain. The love is strong, so the pain is strong. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
And immediately I felt her presence around me. I started having visitation dreams
Mm-hmm.
where I would dream about her,
Yes.
and they were very real. They were
Mm-hmm.
very real, and I felt
Yes.
I felt and she would calm me down. She was there smiling and, giving me the confidence that I can move on.
Mm-hmm.
I did I started to travel a lot. I went to different places where Brittany and I had planned to go together. And even though now I had to do it alone, which was very difficult the first time I went without her, um, I knew she was there, even though she wasn't here physically.
Yes.
And her favorite flowers was roses, and I used to all of a sudden start smelling the scent of roses
Wow.
wherever I went. I
Wow.
mean, I could be home here, I could be in Florida visiting my sister. It doesn't matter. All of a sudden, I feel it, I smell it, and I know she's. However they do that, I don't know, but she
Mm-hmm.
found a way, and because she knew it would come from me and I would know that she's there. But I was always very open to these things, of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
your children watching over you and helping you guide you through all this pain. I truly believe that they do. I have no
Yes.
doubt.
Yes. definitely. And it's something, again, before, there's some people before they lost their children, they just didn't believe. They did not believe in, okay, I this is a sign. This is my daughter smiling. She's letting me know that everything's
Yeah.
okay. But afterwards, it's like an opening. It's like an opening to another realm, and
Yes.
you're like, I noticed this, I see this, I
Mhm.
smelled this, and I just believe it's their little ways of saying, Mom, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yes, because they really have to look after us because of what we've gone through, and,
Mhm.
I feel they know the pain that we're in, so I think they'll do anything to help us along, and she has.
Mhm.
It's been over 5 years now, and I still sense her around, not as much as it was in the beginning, but I think I
Yes.
needed it more in the beginning.
Right.
That first couple of years, I felt like I was still in shock.
Yes.
All of a sudden, the weeks, the months, the years were passing by, and I still felt like this couldn't have happened. I
Yes.
kept thinking, "Did this really happen?" And then I have to say to myself, "Yeah, it did happen." You
Wow.
know, I, so her presence was very strong. The dream visits when she would come to me, and she looked beautiful, and she
Mhm.
looked happy, and she looked at peace, and she did not have any of those problems anymore when I saw
Yes.
her. There was no more mental issues. She was happy. She seemed almost relieved.
Yeah.
And, I hold on to that because I know that we are going to see our kids again someday.
Yes.
Um, but our kids know how difficult life will be for us
Mhm.
as we go along on this journey. Although things have changed and I've learned how to deal with the grief and the pain a little better than I did in the beginning, there will always be a part of my heart that's missing. It'll never be back like what it used to be. It's just impossible.
Wow. Wow. Your words are exactly what I feel, what moms across the globe are feeling. So just hearing you say exactly how I feel is just bringing healing and confirmation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be a lot more difficult on me if I thought that I was never going to see her again. And
Hmm.
I know there's people out there that feel that way, but I think once you lose a child, you really look into it and you're really paying attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah.
And I knew she was just trying to tell me that she's making her presence known and she's there and she's happy. And I have so many family members over there,
Yeah.
and I know they're all together, and
Yes.
they're all together and still watching out for us over here because they
Mm.
know what a challenge this life is.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna ask you know, with Brittany just being around you and giving you her her signs that she's okay. Besides that, what what ignited you to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and write a book. I'm going to go ahead and write a book, and tell us what got you going, because I really want moms to know and feel that you can do it. You can get up and do something. You can find a purpose through this.
Yes.
So if you can let us know,
Okay.
because I have my days where I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm
Yes.
I'm not doing a podcast. I'm not doing nothing. So there are moms that are stuck in that, where they can't find a way to do anything. So let's go into that a little bit.
Well, it took 3 years after her death for me to start writing anything down, putting it together as a book. Before I did start journaling and I started thinking about my own struggles as a child and a young adult,
Yeah.
because a lot of them were similar to Brittany's. You know,
Yeah.
I had been through all this already, and I started to write down things. I wanted people to become more aware of the mental health problem and the mental health system that we have. You know, there's a lot of people that need help, children or adults. So I started writing down all my experiences and what Brittany went through
Mhm.
and struggled to try and get her help, and me feeling like a failure because I was never able to get that help for her. Although I feel now, I know it's not my fault. I did
Yes.
everything that I could have possibly done.
That's right. That's
And
right.
honestly, in her 21 years, she lived an amazing life. Um, we would go away together with my sisters. I was a teacher, so I had the summers off, and we'd go away together with my sisters in the summer, and
Mhm.
they spent a lot of time together. She was a I spoke about all these things, but my main focus was definitely on the lack of help,
Mhm.
mental issues. I just felt like I was going in circles. Nothing was working out.
Mhm.
But once I started to journal things, and then I started putting it together in a book, starting with my experiences and leading up to Brittany. And there were a lot of things about her I didn't even know until she passed.
Wow.
Her friends came up and told me how kind she was to them. She stuck up for bullies, and she did.
Ah,
I had no idea because
yeah.
it was like I mean, she did not live a long time, but she did make a mark on the world. And
Yes.
I really think that no matter what the age of the child or adult is, that they made some kind of a mark. And I realized that she did things that I never never even knew. I
Mhm.
I, I
Mhm.
just she was very much a believer in everything has to be fair. We have to all be equal, and you should treat people with respect. Don't bully. It's just all of those things that she practiced what she preached,
Wow.
basically.
Wow. And I'm sure because I got the same thing with Alana. I still run into people that tell me things about Alana that I had no idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, with you speaking on that with Brittany, Alana stood up to a lot of, you know, bullies and, with her friends, she wanted everybody to be happy and things to
yeah,
be fair with her friends.
yes,
Yeah. So I definitely understand what you're speaking of here.
yeah. I,
Definitely.
I mean, she just was that type of girl, even as a little girl, and
Wow.
going into her teen years has meant she had a lot of struggles, but she was never unkind to
Mhm.
anyone.
Mhm.
And she was outspoken about her views, and she wouldn't be afraid to pick a argument with
Yes.
someone if
Yes.
something doesn't feel right, if
That's
something's
right.
just not right, or if they're doing something that's just not nice. She would tell you.
Yes.
She
Yes.
would tell you she doesn't like it because she saw the world the way it is, which
Mhm.
it can be sometimes very dark with people doing things that aren't so nice. And I just feel she was a bright light.
A
She
light.
was there.
Yes.
And
Yes, a light.
I still believe that her light is still shining bright, even though it's not here, but it's over there. I completely believe that.
Definitely.
I know. I mean, I look forward to the day we can be together again. You
Yes.
know, I know that I have to live my life here and go on and do, whatever else I have to do, but
Mhm.
there'll be a time. I know the years go by so fast. I mean, just
Yeah.
watching her growing up and turning into a doll, I mean, it happened in a blink of an eye.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Life goes by like that. But I really wanted to write the book to let people know the kind of person she was. And even though she had those struggles, it never made her unkind. I feel like she still had a mission to accomplish. Like, I'm not going to say save the world. I mean, she would have loved to, but
Mhm. Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. I
she just, her friends would tell me that, she'd stand up to the somebody's being bullied, she'd stand up to the bully,
Mhm.
it just she was the real deal.
The real deal. Definitely. Definitely.
And I loved hearing over the years all the things that how she treated people and how she was nice to people, and that made me proud.
Yeah.
And that also made me help. I think in the beginning I had some guilt thinking I should have been able to prevent this. I should, going back and thinking about the whole situation. No,
Mhm.
there's nothing I could have done. At her age, she's going to be, she was in college and she's going to be going out, with
Mhm.
her
Yeah.
car and everything. I mean, you can't hold their hand forever. I did whatever I could,
Yes.
to guide her through life, but they get to an age where you have to let them go. I never really wanted to, but I had no choice. I had to.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we definitely we definitely have difficulty giving them their space to grow
Yes.
because we're moms. We want to avoid the hits on the head. We want to stop that hurt, that pain
Yes.
as
Yes.
as much as we can. So it's just in us to do that. And then as they grow, they want to, pull away and walk on their own and, experience life as they grow. But they're
And
always our babies.
yes. So, I mean, of course, when she was a teenager, I always gave her my opinion if she was with somebody that I didn't think she should be
Oh
with.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's not something I ever held back.
Definitely.
And I would say to her, I've been through this. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I
Definitely.
did not sail through life as a teen either, as a young adult. There were struggles. I said, I know what I'm talking about. And you just hope that they listen to you.
Bingo. Bingo.
And it's so hard. I had guilt in the beginning. I don't anymore because I feel that I did everything possible
Hmm.
to help her with her mental health, getting her to doctors,
Hmm.
changing doctors when I needed to. I did my part, and
Yeah.
oddly enough, a few days before she passed, she said to me, "Mom, I love you, and I know that you've done everything you could to help me."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Let's dissect this a little bit for other moms who's out here dealing with the mental issues for their children. And I'm so glad that you're emphasizing that I did everything I could do.
Yes.
I did everything I could do. So moms out here who's listening, who have lost their children the same capacity, uh, please know that as moms, we do everything we know to do, and our children know that.
Yes.
They know
Yes, they
that.
do.
Yeah.
Even though, well, they were here, they might not say it. I mean, I was shocked that she said it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they might not say it, but they do appreciate it. They
Yes.
do. Every child wants a loving mother, a mother that loves them. That's just what every child
Yeah.
needs and what they want.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to moms who are struggling with a child with the mental issues that they're battling when they keep hitting a wall, when they take them here and there's no answer, when they take them there and there's no answer? What were you doing? What was your process as far as, okay, they're not helping? What
Mm.
I know we're fighters for our children. I know that we're
You-
fighters and we are not to give up.
No,
So,
and I didn't. And even though she was an adult, she still wanted me to come in to talk to the doctor, the
yes.
psychiatrist, because I would tell him what I'm seeing at home and what the things that she was doing.
Mhm.
And he would just shrug his shoulders. And I'm thinking, why, I'm trying to get help for my child here. And then he told me that I was trying to diagnose her. I said, no, I'm just telling you what I see at
Yes.
home. And I honestly felt I was at a roadblock at that point.
Okay.
And I know if parents go through this, they're probably, the ones out there who have children that struggle are probably going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if she was still here, I would have gone around until I found the right person for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe there would have been somebody out there, but I just didn't have time to find it, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna go, outside of my insurance plan and actually pay for it out of pocket to find someone that
Definitely.
was good for her, somebody that would listen to her, somebody that would listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was a very stressful time for me. I understand that, how difficult that is.
Yeah.
As far as, trying to deal with her loss, I started doing things, besides writing down all my thoughts for the book, I started doing things for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing things that I enjoyed, things that I needed to feel better.
Yes.
I've always been a traveler. I do that even more so now, and I have friends that go with me, or I'm visiting my family, and that helps. It helps to have a support system. So I know some people moved away from me after this happened. They moved further away.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's other people in my life that are now closer because of it. And they're the real friends.
Yes.
They're the real friends. It might not be a large circle, it's a small circle, but it's important to me because I'm getting what I need through them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. 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 And how is Brittany's dad? How do you guys heal together yet separately?
He has grieved in a different way that
Mm-hmm.
I have. For the first 2 years, he cried and screamed every single night for 2 years, or
Yeah.
2.5 years, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
Um, I grieve where the way I get my feelings out is by talking about her and about the life together that we had. And I think that's very important to
Mm-hmm.
find people that you can talk to about your child. Because like I said before, not everyone's going to probably want to hear it all the time, especially after 5 years, but you need to keep close to you the ones that do support you even after all these years. Now my husband has alcoholism and
Mm-hmm.
mental problems of his own,
Mm-hmm.
so it was more of a strain to try to get himself together after
Yes.
this tremendous loss. Everyone grieves differently.
Yes.
My way is talking about it, and his way was pretty much keeping to himself and just crying.
Hmm.
And to see that for 2.5 years, nobody knew what was going on behind closed doors except me. I mean, it was really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't even sure he was going to make it because of his issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's pulled through so far. Our relationship is actually stronger now, and it really wasn't even before she passed.
Wow.
I don't know how that. I mean, I look back and I'm thinking, how did that happen? It just we were having issues before,
Mm-hmm.
because of her, because of his issues. It was just, but I mean, we get along a lot better now. We weren't getting along for a very long time.
Wow. Wow. Just it's again, grief somehow ties the knot into love. Somehow. It just does. As much as our hearts are hurting, and it's love still finds its way to intertwine in between.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe he finally realized that he needed me more now, than
Mm-hmm.
even before.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
Um, he was she was his little girl,
Hmm.
and then one minute she's here and the next she's gone. I mean, that's just a shock to the system. You just can't believe it. I mean, sometimes I still have flashbacks of those days, but I think that's normal. I think that's going to happen sometimes. You still
Hmm.
remember what happened, the tragedy, what happened on that day, and it's not. You learn to deal with it better as time goes on, but it's never gone forever. You're still
Yeah.
gonna have. I mean, because I saw a lot of things that I had to ID her in the morgue, and that was horrible. That was just horrible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I, and when I was with him, of course, and I didn't think he was gonna be able to get up. I mean, it was just horrendous. Oh,
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you're being real about the horrible part of this.
yes,
The horrible part of this, because there's plenty of us out there who, feel as if I'm the only one going through this much pain and horror
yes,
about this grief. No, it could even tie into the husband relationship, the family relationship. It's there's some horror behind this. I was protected, as far as identifying Alana, so I cannot imagine living with that picture in my head, in my
yeah,
head.
yeah. I have that picture in my head forever and ever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
my sister wanted me to. She wanted to go down there and I did. I said, "No, I need to see her. I need to get
Mhm.
closure and see that you know what?" But I'm sure as a mother you can understand that. And she did too. And she's just
Mhm.
like, "I wish you would have let me." I said, "It's just something I needed to do."
Yeah.
I had to give myself closure and realize, yeah, this really happened.
Yes. Yes. Wow, that's good. That's good. That's good, because even though I was protected from doing that part, there's still moms out there who can relate to what you just said, that
Yes.
they needed to see. They needed, it's our babies.
Yes.
It's our babies. They needed to do that themselves. And wow, talking about strength. Talking about
Yeah.
strength.
Yes. Um, it's hard. Sometimes you do feel alone as a grieving parent because I know in my circle, up until I lost Brittany, before that, I didn't know anyone who lost a child.
Hmm.
After it happened, I started going to a grief group for child loss, and then I started meeting people that I never that lost children, and we all had that in common. So everything we would say to one another, we all understood,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
definitely something that we need.
Yes.
We're fortunate that the internet is here today because years ago you wouldn't even be able to find one another.
Exactly.
I have friends all over the country who, grieving
Yeah.
parents, and it wouldn't have been possible without technology. And then
Yes.
because I like to talk about it so much, who would I talk to about it?
Yep.
I mean, if I talk to Chris about it, he still gets very upset.
Hmm.
So I know not to go overboard with it with him.
Right.
But other people, yeah, I
Yeah.
and
Other
they
mamas.
yeah, I think it's really important that you find somebody that's going to listen to you,
Hmm.
and then you can listen to what they have to say. It goes both ways. I'm just very grateful for the people that have come into my life at such a horrible time. Now I know a lot of grieving parents, and
Oh yeah.
I never knew it before.
Yeah. My sleepless nights when I'm just lying there, I can't sleep. Alana, 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 you just want them. You just want them. And what helps holding me together in those sleepless nights, besides knowing that she's somewhere having a wonderful time.
Yes,
besides knowing that, is knowing that there's moms all over the globe who gets it. They're up at night just like I'm up at night.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just to it's some kind of a comfort. I don't want to misuse it, but it's some kind of a comfort just knowing somebody out there gets it.
Yes.
I'm not the only one up tossing and turning, you know.
Yeah, because there were those nights where I would just go outside and stand in a rainstorm, just crying my eyes out. And
Mhm.
especially that first year.
Yeah.
I'd started to deal with it a little better as time went on, but there's always a time that you're gonna, you know, like her birthday, her anniversary of her
Yeah.
passing, Mother's Day, are all very difficult days for grieving mothers. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I chose to do is celebrate her birthday every year.
Mhm.
I have her friends come over because I'm still in touch with a couple of her friends, and
Uh-huh.
we celebrate with a cake, and we share stories, and we
Yes.
we blow out the candles. And on her day of passing, I do like a little vigil. I light a candle
Mhm.
and order food for whoever's going to come over, and again, celebrating her life.
Yes.
So one day we celebrate her birthday, the other day we're celebrating her life
That's
and
right.
the mark that she made on the world. And I really think all grieving parents need to do something like
Yes.
this, because I couldn't just, those days I would always get so nervous and upset coming up to that actual day. But when I planned something to do, I was able to deal with it a little better, when I had plans for that day. Even if you have a party with your other children for her or go to the favorite restaurant, some of the
Mhm.
mothers have told me they celebrate in their restaurant. And
Yeah.
I think it's a really good thing to do. I really do.
Yes. I agree. I agree. Just the healing process. Just every little bit, helps us get through the journey. Just every
Yes.
bit. Yeah.
And you have to do what you need to do to feel better. Like for me, well, I decided that I was gonna get a makeover. Had my hair done, had the lashes put on, I had makeup put on, and just feeling good about myself, something that's gonna make me feel good.
Yes. That's good. That's good.
That's part of taking care of yourself, whatever you want to do to make yourself feel better.
That's excellent advice for moms out there. Get some time for you to make you feel better, even though you could be just screaming on the inside,
Yes.
just screaming on the inside. Take some time out for just you to pamper you, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna spend the day at the spa, go for it. If you wanna see a movie alone, go do it.
Yes.
Whatever you enjoy. That's what I focus on now, whatever
Hmm.
I enjoy. When I go down to Florida, my sister has grandchildren, so
Hmm.
it's always nice to see them. They're little guys. It's always nice to see them and
Yeah.
play with them, and, I look forward to those kind of things that help me.
Good, good, good. So before we wrap this up, is there anything you want to share, like your book title, where we can find your book, your
Yeah.
social media platforms where we can find you, and um
Yes. The name of my book is called The Scent of Roses, and it's on Amazon, and it's also on my web. I have a website.
mhm.
It's on that too, and my website is thescentofroses.com, and there's a lot of information about my book,
Mhm.
about me, about Brittany. But, any parent that feels like they wanna write it all down, do it, because it's very healing. It really
Yes,
is. I've spoken to
yes.
quite a few other parents that have written their thoughts down and what it was like to lose the child,
Mhm.
but that also gave me great joy being able to talk about her and making sure no one forgets her. Because I
Yes,
think that was one thing I always worried about was people were going to forget her.
definitely, definitely. All right. So I just want to thank you again for joining me. This has been a wonderful healing time.
Yes, it has been.
Yes, Susan, you were just great. And I know that your story about you and Brittany are going to heal moms all over the globe. So I just want to thank you for your nuggets just
Thank
gave me just gave me a little strength to go further. It was
Yeah,
just
I
wonderful listening to your words.
I'm glad you found me. I really am because I
Yes,
really enjoy this and I really enjoy talking to a mother that
yes,
understands.
yes. I definitely understand. Definitely. So again, I'm going to thank you, moms. I thank you for hanging out with us, listening to Angel Moms, Hopes of Heaven, brought to you by ALONNA'S Song. I'm your host, Angela Presley, and I will see you soon, mamas. Thank you, Susan.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.